Hello, guys. How are you? Okay, I'll start with the people that are already here to respect everybody's time. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. This is our fourth webinar in our new webinar program. For those who are here with us for the first time, we are hosting webinars for marketers every 2 weeks. And our webinars usually tackle trending topics for marketers or even give out tools for marketers to perform better. If you want to check out the past webinars, you have them all in our YouTube channel. Now, let's talk about today. Today, we want to open the doors and windows to our company and let you in. You will be able to ask questions you may have on numbers, our strategy, or even our mindset that brought us to having our first 1,000 clients. Don't be shy. If there was a moment where you felt that you wanted to know more about a venture-backed startup and how funds work and how you can actually get and scale your clients, this is the time to make those questions and get answers from a person that actually lived that in the first place. Okay, so learn from our mistakes, and so you don't have to commit them yourself. Before I let Juan, our CEO, start his story, I want to remind you something. At the end of the webinar, we'll give out $400 out of freebies that any marketer or founder would like to have. So be sure to stick with us until that time to have a chance to win. Only the registered attendees will be eligible. So if you haven't registered yet at the moment of watching this, uh, grab the link in the descriptions on the platform that you're watching us from and register that right away. So when the freebie moment comes, you'll be eligible to be chosen. Another perk of having registered is that we'll send you the slides and as well as a recording of this webinar. So double the reason of doing so. Now, without further ado, let's give the word to our CEO, Juan. Juan, how are you?
Thank you, Sebas. Thank you for the invitation of the thing that we created together. Yeah,
I'm glad you were able to make it. All right, Juan. I guess it's your moment. Let's take it away.
perfect. I wanted to make this event because I wanted to play different. We wanted to show our story, our mistakes, and things because I think this is something not many companies are willing to do or they are afraid of showing. So I welcome you to ask any question. If you want to know our sales, our numbers, how we have lost money or how we have made money, feel free to ask it and I will answer it. I can actually share screenshots with you. Why we play like this? Because we are obsessed with playing different, and I know that our competitors won't do this either. So that's why we wanted to make this special. Today's is not just about our story, but also a marketing lesson. So if you want to know how we build our team, how much we spend, or anything, any question, feel free to drop it in the comments. I am super open to this. And you may be wondering why we are so open. I will explain why in the end of the presentation and some many good things. I will share my screen, and if Sebas can confirm that I am doing it, I will doing it right now. And I am supposed to be sharing right now. Can you confirm?
Confirmed, Juan.
Perfect. So today I don't care about return investment. I don't care about how many people are attending. I am doing this because I really wanted to do it. I thought that it was a personal duty on my end, and that's a good incentive for you because today I'm focusing on delivering value rather than seeing how many customers we are getting from this webinar. Based on that, I expect that you get a lot of this. And today's story is how we got our first 1,000 customers. At this point, Porter Metrics has already more than 100 to 1,200 customers worldwide. But I want to recap why you are here. There are two reasons why you are attending this webinar. Hopefully, you get to know about the startup, the company, and hopefully you like us. You don't like just the product or if you become a customer. Right? It is not the primary thing today. I want you that you like our company and the people behind this. And also, I think this is a very practical webinar to learning to do marketing for a startup. I think we'll be very accurate and precise in the things that we will tell you today. And of course, if you have any questions, just drop it in the comments and we'll have spaces for questions from anyone. The reason why we are doing this is because we have an obsession of playing different. How you can tell that we want to play different? If you see our logo doesn't look like anything that you have seen in the industry. No one has a unicorn cat as a logo. So that's a message that we want to send with the logo, with this kind of webinars, with the way we provide customer support, everything. We want to play different, and I think it is an obsession and actually a value of the company. Based on that, this is actual numbers. This is a screenshot of our numbers. And as for today, Porter metrics just from credit cards data, this is not counting PayPal. We have already over 1,147 customers. I hope that I said it well in English. Uh, Worldwide today, this is real data. We have already more than 100 customers beyond this because we also charge with PayPal, but PayPal data is not showing here. This is actual data, and as you can see, every month we are growing. We are not growing exponentially as we have this narrative of startups, but we are growing, which is a unique thing among startups today. I will start with four phases. The story today is four phases. How we pivoted the business model, how we got 10 customers, 100 customers, and 1,000 customers. I will start with the pivot. This is not marketing, but entrepreneur. If some of you speak only English, I will try to translate, but 2 years ago, we ran a different company. Imagine that we had a Google Analytics for retail stores. We counted how many people entered stores with cameras, and these cameras look like this. The story is super fun, but we built the cameras our own, and it was a painfully rewarding experience because building hardware is very hard, but this was our business. And we started to get customers, very important customers like Specialized and Corona. And we started to install our people counting cameras for retail stores so we could measure traffic and conversion rates. And everything was going fine. We closed very good deals until this happened. This happened in 2020. In March 2020, Colombia started the quarantine, and all the retail stores and all our contracts and all our money was gone within a week. That's how this story started, by fundamentally closing another business. But this is something that we did very well, and our customers, our investors at Techstars Accelerator that we joined, they praised about us. We moved super fast. Imagine this: on Friday, March 20, something like that, the quarantine started. And on Monday, the founders, the three founders, we gathered to see what we will do. And we changed the business model that exact day. That's how we did it. And within that week, we changed everything. You may be wondering if we felt sad. And no, because first, we are used to failing. That's a normal thing of this. But second, the quarantine and COVID was something that was out of our control. And if we cannot control this, we cannot stress about this. And those thinkings, those ways of thinking, I think that help us moving super fast. Also, we move fast because I am pretty impatient, and I don't like to wait for anything. During that time of COVID, I gave a course on Platzi. If you live in Latin America, you know Platzi. Platzi is the most important online education platform, but I gave a course on Google Data Studio, and this course already has been taken more than 1,000 times. As you see, we have over 1,000 reviews, and people who give reviews, they must complete the course. So thousands of people have seen this course. In that moment, many people and many students asked me, "Hey Juan, I would like to connect WooCommerce or Facebook to Data Studio, and I think that the competitor that you mentioned is very expensive." This gave us the idea to start this different company. We will start creating connectors for Google Data Studio so you could automate your marketing reports. That's how we started. And this was a good thing, and that's a recommendation for startup founders. And if you are thinking of starting a business, this is not mandatory, but playing your game or being in your element matters a lot. I have been a marketer for years. I have always worked with software. I have always worked with agencies. For me, this industry is so familiar that I speak to users, but many of the times I speak to users, I can predict what they will say because I am a marketer myself. I used to work in agencies, I used to work in marketing teams. So this is a hugely competitive advantage. As you can see, this is my LinkedIn, and in the latest days, I have had 4,000 profile views on my LinkedIn profile and over 20,000 impressions because this is the industry I can dominate. And this is a competitive advantage because many founders start businesses that they don't know about, like everyone in crypto, for instance. But it is not mandatory. It doesn't mean that if you know the industry, you will fail. but I think it is a specific competitive advantage that makes you the perfect fit for winning. Actually, accelerators, one of the most important criteria they use to choose a startup is the founding team. And they want to see that you are eligible to win that market. I think with the knowledge I had on Data Studio, that I gave courses, that I have given courses everywhere in Latin America, I think I was in a unique position to win in this market. So I think that's a first recommendation for startup founders is playing in a game that you know you can win, that you dominate the industry that you know very well. Now, the next step before the after the pivot, when we decided to build marketing reporting solutions, was doing marketing before having a product. And you may say that you only do marketing for selling the product, but it is not true. We started doing marketing to gather an audience that eventually will test the product. We will want to gather beta testers, and this is how we did it. And this is a super special story. During the pandemic, when it started, I for fun, literally, I had a girlfriend and she was studying something related with politics, and I said, hey, you need to learn technology, and that would be fun. What about if I teach you Google Data Studio and we together create a dashboard about COVID? And we created this dashboard and I shared it on my Facebook. This dashboard within a week had 30,000 views from people from large companies, and one of them was Janssen, by the way, invented the vaccine for COVID. And thanks to this dashboard that we share on social media, we landed Janssen as customer, and the money they gave us helped us to be profitable, or more than profitable, to pay ourselves a salary so we could build Potter metrics. This was a fun story because I did this for fun, and it turned out to bring us a 500 company, a super large company. Now, you may be wondering how we did marketing in the early days. What I did is that for fun as well, I started to share report templates. If you are familiar with Google Data Studio, you know that you can have templates to copy and paste so you can have your reports. So what I did is I started to share for free many report templates. I started to build them myself, and I started to share them on Facebook, on my profile, on Facebook groups, and so on. This way, in a few weeks, we have gathered over 1,000 emails. In 1 week, I remember we collected over 400 emails of people wanting these report templates. Why I think this was successful? First, because report templates are super useful and are a very good resource. And second, no one was doing this. No one at 2020, by then, no one was sharing a free Google Data Studio report templates. And I think that this uniqueness helped us have very good demand. Another thing that we did is that we wanted to create a Facebook group. So I think we created the first Facebook group on Google Data Studio back then. Remember that today is called Looker Studio. This group today has almost 10,000 people. But when I created, I remember more than 20 people, 30 people joined every day. And these people were potential users. So when they joined, I asked them, hey, if you want report templates and if you would like to test our new connector when it launches, give me your email. And that's how we started collecting emails by sharing report templates that people downloaded through a landing page and also on the Facebook group so people could try our product eventually. And this is important. You may be thinking, hey, we have a very good tech stack because today we have an expensive chat, we pay for an expensive CRM. But by then, everything that I did was for free. If you create websites, we use WordPress. WordPress is free. For the website chat, I use ManyChat. It's free, has a free plan. And for email marketing, I use MailerLite that has a free plan. You can actually send, can actually have like 1,000 subscribers for free. So our recommendation is if you want to start, remember, you don't need to pay a lot. This doesn't have to be complicated. Everything of what I do, I don't code ever. And I love doing no code and building with no code. So my recommendation is start with something that is super simple. That's a first recommendation. Now, this is an idea of how we started gathering beta testers, but the product hasn't been yet there. But I collected emails. How we started having our first users once we have finally something to show. The first thing I did is that I had this huge list of subscribers, and I started with a list of 300 emails. And I sent an email, and the email said something like this. I said, hey, I want to help you with your Facebook ad report. Actually, the title was "I will build your Facebook ad report on Google Data Studio for free. 20 spots available." That was real, and actually that email was filled very quickly. The people, I was impressed because people from Canada, from the US, from Colombia, they wanted to have a call with me so I could help them set up the reports. That's a strong signal of product market fit. People wanted to meet with a stranger, spend their time, so I could help them to build their first report. So I think that was a very huge win and a very good recommendation for you to help start it. And by then, to me, having progress didn't mean money. I didn't need people to pay us for the product. I only needed people to say yes for a meeting. If you were willing to have a meeting with me 30 minutes, to me, that's strong enough. Actually, I was saying, for those who don't speak Spanish, I said, hey, the app is private, people cannot use it, but I would like to help you in a call. And that's another way I got users. On LinkedIn, I reach out to marketers and say, hey, would you like to try this product? I will need a call with you so I can set this report for you for free. That's how we started getting users. Now, once we got users and once we finally had something to sell that was barely useful, very hard to use, by the way, but very useful, I will show you how we got our first 10 customers. So, the first recommendation, if you live in Latin America, is that don't mess around opening a company in Colombia. Please don't do that. Go ahead, go right away and create a C Corp in Delaware. It is easier. It is a recommendation. First, because of investors. Investors only invest in C Corps. But second, is because the US tech infrastructure is way more simple. As a payment gateway, for instance, we use Stripe. Stripe is a beautiful product. Latin American payment gateways, they are not that good. So a fair recommendation for startup founders is build a C Corp or incorporate a C Corp in Delaware. How you can do that? You can pay for $500 or $1,000 on Stripe, and within days you will have a company created in the US. You don't need much more than that. We were afraid, and we actually hired an accountant to help us with that. But you don't need to. You can create and you can build a company in the US within days. It is super simple. Now, that's the first recommendation because you want people to pay you. And this is the actual first self-service customer that we had. I actually told this story on my LinkedIn. Is one day Alexis, the co-founder, the technical developer that we have, he tested a lot, many times, the payment gateway. And every time it was a false alert, like this is a false payment, this is a false payment. But one day I woke up like at 7 a.m. or something. I opened the computer and I noticed a payment of $30 from someone from Vietnam. We thought that it was a false positive, but it turned out that actually someone from Vietnam had paid for our product. And that was insane because I felt really that I could make money while sleeping, but not because it is easy, but because the time zones. And it was impressive that someone, a stranger, trusted the product enough to put their credit card. To me, that was insane. Funny story is that business was bankrupt like 2 months later. But anyways, they were the first customer. And this is a super important story for founders in the beginnings. I wouldn't stress much about automating my sales. I wouldn't stress much about having many calls for a $30 ticket. I wouldn't stress much because in the beginning things are very hard. I remember that with my co-founder, with Mateo, with a single potential customers that would pay $15 or $30 per month, we had 3 or 4 calls perfectly, and we would wait for weeks. As a business, that doesn't make sense, but we were not building a business. We were seeing if there was potential for this. So don't mind about sales cycles. If a $15 customer takes you 2 hours to onboard, that's a good thing because the most important thing first is talking to users. I will go about this chart that you are seeing later, um, after this webinar, in the end of this webinar, because this chart is super important because based on the market that you are playing, you will pay totally different. But remember, for sales cycles, today our sales cycles, I think that it is a week or 2 weeks maximum for people to buy Porter. Once they get to know us, they simply put their credit card. But in the beginning, the same effort is 10 times effort for the same outcome. It was very tiny. Now, punctually, where our 10 first customers came from. One is Platzi, because of the course I gave in English. I was a consultant for marketing agencies, so also agencies, both our the ones I served as a consultant, of course, they will pay for the product I built. Also, we did some cold outreach in that beginning. Actually, we had an intern from a university in our local hometown, and she actually reached out to agencies that are very good customers today. Also, Facebook groups deliver one of the customers that we had in the beginning, and the email listings. When I started sharing report templates, some people actually wanted to test the product and pay for it. So these are exactly the channels that we used. Now, that's an idea. As you can see, when you start, you are very tactical, not strategical. You don't think about positioning, segmentation, nothing. You think about surviving. You think about doing something fast. And as you can see, the channels were very diverse. Now let's talk about how we reached the first 100 customers. The first 100 customers started with a huge problem. I consider myself a pretty optimistic person. I am super optimistic. I tend to be very happy, and I don't tend to be negative at all for the circumstances that happen. Only as a founder, I think that I have said 3 times, this is the worst thing that can happen to us. And the first time I say that is because we had a problem with a co-founder. Alexis, the developer, he's a genius. I am super happy to working with him. But at that point, he was not focused and he was doing other projects and Porter Metrics was not his priority. And that's why he was not delivering product. Even though Mateo and me were working a lot on marketing and sales to drive users, the product wasn't ready. And I remember that we had an ultimatum from him that we said, if you don't deliver this product by this date, you are out. The good thing is that he delivered and we worked together. I think that I have very good co-founders. I am very happy for that. Uh, Another thing that we did in the beginning is with the first sales, with the first revenues that we had, we hired interns for the minimum wage in Colombia. It was a terrible idea, a terrible, terrible idea because the quality of their work is not good, of course. But second, our CTO, most of his time was coaching and not doing code because they were not good enough. So this was what we had. We didn't have money, and that was our best option. But the first recommendation I will give to anyone is always try to hire the best person you can have. The best person that you can afford, always try to do that. Always, this lesson makes sense and is right. Even though you think, hey, maybe I can try it a different way. No, do it. Hire the best person that you can hire. That's a very good recommendation. And there is another thing. When we started having customers, we wanted to land a first marketer. And I was very fortunate with the one I found first, but I also noticed this pattern among many applicants for their job. They say, hey, Juan, I am more like a strategic person. I want to manage a team. I want to manage the narrative and the strategy in general. And that's bullshit. When you are in a startup, in an early stage startup, you are tactical. You do things. You are not strategic at all. And when someone says, hey, I am more comfortable with the strategy, is basically saying, I don't know how to do things. I don't like technology. I don't know how to run ads. I don't know how to do things by myself. I come from a large agency, and what I did was managing a team, but I didn't know how to do things myself. If you work with a startup, if you work in a startup and you want to hire the first people, they must love execution. They want to run away somehow from a strategy only. You want people who are tactical and who enjoy to be in the trenches with you. So this is important to avoid these marketers who are more comfortable in strategic positions. They are great for different stages of the company, not for the beginning. Another thing that we did is that we ran a lifetime deal. Lifetime deals is you pay once for Porter, for the rest of the time that we are as a business, you will have the product. And we ran a lifetime business that we thought was a good idea. And by then was a good idea. When we run this lifetime business, our revenue per month was $2,000 or $3,000 per month. And the lifetime gave us $8,000. What is the problem with lifetime deals? The customers that you get from lifetime deals are the worst because they are deal hunters. They only think of pricing and they will require from you the same level of support than an enterprise client. So The clients that you will get there are not good. And if your idea, hey, maybe I can collect feedback from these customers, no, because these customers is not your potential customer. Your good customers, they won't buy you because of your discounts. If you want some cash flow, I think this is a good idea. But when you need to survive. But if you want to grow, I wouldn't recommend a lifetime deal ever. Um, Something that happened cool is when we got the $8,000 from revenues, we made it to Techstars. Techstars is the second most important startup accelerator in the world. And with Techstars, besides learning a lot, we received $120,000 in funding. And this changed our business, not because of the money, but because of the mindset that we developed with them and how our mindset changed. In the beginning, we thought of Porter as something that could be a business, that maybe we could make a living, that maybe we could do it. But with Techstars, we understood that we could build something global that changed the world and that could build the future. I don't know if you think that what I am saying is romantic, and I don't know if you are believing in what I say, but if you see my eyes, even though with the definition of the camera, I am honest about my intentions of building a global company, and I don't play around with this. This is the game I want to play. So that's an important thing in the change of the mindset we developed. And let's talk about marketing for the first 100 customers. I love SEO, and something I started doing is doing SEO from day one. If you go to Google and you type, for instance, how to connect Facebook ads to Data Studio and these searches, I think that we are ranking in the first page for sure. But you may be wondering why we started doing SEO if SEO is a long term game. Let's talk about that. The first thing that you want to know is that the SEO is a long term game is a myth. It is not precisely true. And it is a good thing for us because many startups they want to start doing SEO because they say no, this will work in 6 months and I don't have 6 months of runway. I need to wait for doing SEO. And our SEO started working in less than a month, for sure. So you can actually play an SEO game that is short term. Why or what makes it short term or long term? The strategy, and the strategy is picking the right keywords. If you go for the most competitive keywords, of course you will take months. But if you go for tiny specific keywords that no one is ranking for, then is how you can win. That's how we did it. We were very specific with the keywords that we went, and as a result, we ranked first very quickly for these keywords. And another thing that you want to think of when doing marketing in the beginning is this concept of marketing, of capturing demand and creating demand. This concept is very important while it sounds abstract. Most marketers, all marketers, think of funnels when doing marketing. And the problem with funnels is that they start at the top, and the top is awareness. So they start doing marketing for awareness. And that's a huge mistake because you are driving audiences who are not ready to buy. On the other hand, my recommendation for starting a startup is do marketing that is capturing the current demand. Do marketing to people who are already looking for your solution and your product. And why this is important? First, because the sales cycles are faster. And second, you are reaching an audience that is ready to buy today. When you generate demand, which means, for instance, for Power Metrics, hey, I just want to reach marketers. Those marketers will need your product. They will need to automate marketing reports. They will need to start Google Data Studio, and they will need to use our connectors in 3 or 4 months. They will buy in 3 or 4 months. Instead, people who are already looking for your product, they will buy within the same week. This is the importance of capturing demand first. And most companies start backwards. And that's a very good opportunity because you can play for the people who are already looking for your product. This is the most important tip I will give for people doing marketing in the beginning. Do marketing for people who are already looking for your solution, and the sales cycles will be faster and you will start getting your first customers. Another thing that we tried is amplification. I don't know if you are in the marketing space, maybe you know this software that is called SparkToro. SparkToro was founded by Rand Fishkin. Rand Fishkin is the guy who founded Moz. SEO Moz is the most important SEO software in the world with Ahrefs and SEMrush. And he ran a survey, and I said, "Hey Rand, I would like to create a report with the data or the results of the survey, and because of that collaboration, he mentioned Porter metrics in one of his blog posts. And this mention brought us very good leads from large companies from Silicon Valley. So I think that was worth it. And of course, our competitors will never do this thing in the beginning. Please take this in consideration. Most competitors, when they are large, they won't tap into channels that you can do as a startup founder. As a startup founder, you are willing to do channels that large competitors don't. By default, a large competitor, they will play Google Ads. That's what they will do. As a small player, you can try these creative things, and no one will compete with you for sure. And this is also an important thing in your marketing, and I can bet that your Google Analytics look like this. No matter how much content you create, it doesn't matter how many ads you run. Always, it is a tiny portion of those ads, it is a tiny portion of those blog posts that deliver most of your results. I can tell that 5 or 10 blog posts of Porter metrics are the ones that get results for the company, and the other ones are good but marginal. And this applies always. Always. 80% of the job you do is kind of worthless, and the 20% is the thing that really matters. So choosing what you do and picking the right fights is very important. Make sure that you win the fights that you must win at all costs. And that specific article, that specific effort is the one that will drive you results in the beginning. And this is another super crucial thing for people when they do marketing, is that they don't have clarity on the concept of intent. Intent is uh, the kind of intent refers on how likely are you to buy a product. I will explain with an example. If, for instance, I search on Google, what are the most important KPIs I need to track on marketing? That expresses an intention of getting informed, but it doesn't express an intention of buying. Instead, if someone is looking for best marketing reporting solutions, that search is expressing an intent of buying. You want to focus on buying intent. You want to focus on the audiences who are expressively they have an intent that is expressively saying about purchasing or buying. This is important. Otherwise, it is very easy that you will do SEO, you will get a lot of traffic and zero sales. Traffic can become a vanity metric that doesn't matter if the traffic that you are driving to your business doesn't have a good or commercial intent. This happens to me. Our most important blog post in terms of traffic drives zero sales because the intent is terrible. So that's a very important recommendation. The most important thing in your content marketing strategy is the buying intent. Please always prioritize that. If you have questions on that, I can answer them later. And second, I will ask you this question: What is more important? What is more important, growing in the long term or in the short term? The answer to that is yes. When you play in a startup, it is a multivariable game. You need to do everything, and that's how this works. So the way I try to balance in the beginning the short term and long term growth for Porter Metrics is creating content that works well for SEO, that's long term, but also that works well for social media, that's short term. So the first things that I did in marketing was creating report templates. The report templates, I could share them on Facebook groups, on my social media profiles, and that will drive short term results. On the other hand, these report templates landing pages will start ranking on Google eventually, and this will drive long term results. This is important that the first time you do marketing, balance long term and short term, and things will pay off. And you don't need to sacrifice or do one or another. If you start doing ads to get results, you are mortgaging your future. So you want to play both fights. Short term and long term are important. Now I gave you an idea or concept of recommendations for getting the first customers. Now how we are scaling to 1,000 customers. And the question here, or the ideas I will give you, are less tactical and more strategic. And I will show you why they are important. This is a personal lesson that I will only say once life is: don't date your employees. The worst mistake I have made in my startup journey was not about marketing, it was not about product, was not about hiring. Was the mistake of dating an employee. That was a nightmare, that was the hell, and I don't recommend it. When you see someone who's successful with a couple in the startup, that's the exception, not the rule. So don't do that. The second thing, let's talk about building a marketing team. I have many lessons of this because I have already hired several marketers. But the most important thing is not that this person is smart, because many people are smart. Even the most important thing is not even passion, because you can find passion. The most important thing to me to hire a marketer is that they are good for a startup. They have a good cultural fit for a startup, because most people don't have a cultural fit for startups. And what is having a cultural fit for startups? Is that you are super okay with uncertainty, with chaos, with doing things by your own. You are super okay if everything else is terrible in the startup. If support is failing, if the product is failing, and you are okay with that. If you are okay with that, if you are okay with moving fast, if you are okay with not being a perfectionist, and you can execute something that works, that's a good fit for a startup. And that's the most critical thing that I learned while hiring people. The only times that I say that I hire wrongly is because these people were very good at everything, but they were not happy in a startup. And that's the most important thing. When you hire wrong, it's never the fault of the applicant. It's never the fault of the hire. It's your fault for not choosing correctly. And it is not because these people are bad. It's because culturally they are not a great fit for a startup. This is the most important thing. The second thing you want to know for scaling your business for 1,000 customers is that eventually you need channels that compound. If the channels that you're using to get customers are linear, you won't grow. You need channels that compound over time. Channels that compound over time, for instance, are building a brand, word of mouth, and SEO. Eventually, for scaling your business, you need these channels. Hardly you can compound ads, because you need to pay more to get more customers, and eventually that's not sustainable for a business to grow exponentially. Because in the end, the game of a startup is growing exponentially, and growing exponentially is very, very hard. Most of the marketing that we do is linear. When you do social media, when you create some blog posts, this is linear impact, not exponential impact. You want to create channels that compound over time. And another thing that I think makes us play different in our game in marketing is that even though we are a marketing reporting company, even though I talk about metrics, about data, about these things, measurement for me, attribution measurement to me is secondary. Why? Because many marketers they want to focus on tracking the ROI of their campaigns. And with that incentive, they lost the common sense. And common sense is doing something that people care about. So these marketers who want to track everything that they do, I will guess at what they do. They create a PDF called the best reporting tools that you need to try. And that PDF brings 10 leads by paying $1,000 on LinkedIn ads. You could track the ROI of that, but that marketing activity sucks. It doesn't deliver value. Instead, at Potter, I don't mind about measuring things that much, and I want the best report template out there. I want the best tutorial out there. I don't care about anything else. Just be the best at delivering value, and results will come. If you focus on delivering value and not on measuring that effort, I think that that's the way you can win in marketing. And this is a good thing. If you're a founder who knows marketing, you understand this concept. But most CEOs don't understand this. And that's how you can win as a founder. Because most founders don't get marketing. They don't get that the most important thing in marketing is delivering value, not measuring your results. And now let's talk about how we rank on Google, because our most important acquisition channel at Potter is SEO. With Potter, we drive already more than 40,000 visitors per month organically on our website. So we know it is a very good channel. We drive more than 1,000 trials or 4,000 contacts in our email list per month organically. And we drive more than 100 new customers every month with these organic channels. Now you may be wondering what we are doing good at SEO. The answer is this: the most important ranking factor for Google is that you are the best result with no discussion for a query. The way we do marketing or the way we created content is, hey, I want to create a tutorial on how to create a report on Data Studio. I create I created a fucking 1 hour long tutorial for being the best at this with no exception. So if you want to rank on Google, make sure that you are the absolute best answer on that and fight for that. When you want to create an article, make sure that you are the best answer on the internet. Everything else is secondary. The meta keywords, the descriptions, the title, everything else is secondary. Make sure that when you create content is the best in the internet, and you will win and you will rank. That's the most important thing. If you go to our tutorial, I am sure that it is the best tutorial on Google Data Studio that you will find. I am sure of that. Maybe there are new ones and I need to check them. But by then, when I created this, I made sure that it was the most complete one. So that the thing I want you to think of content. Now, this is the most important lesson for strategy. It turns out that many startups they don't need marketing at all. But you think you need marketing. You think you need to do SEO. Not everyone needs to do SEO. Not everyone needs to have a social media team. That's false. The game depends on your market. I will explain it. When you want to hunt elephants, which is large size deals like enterprise deals, you will win by hiring salespeople, business developers. There is no way marketing can win there. I have talked with people in marketing from Microsoft, from Oracle, and they are not that relevant in their teams. They are doing fine, but if they are fired, it doesn't matter. The most important players in these enterprise companies is the salespeople. On the other hand, if you are selling a viral product like a social media network, like an app, the most important people are the product people, are the developers, are the designers, because you need to go viral. On the other end, companies like Porter Metrics, when our deals are, for instance, $500 per year per customer, $1,000, the way you win is not with salespeople, is with marketing people. And it doesn't matter how many people you hire from sales. Marketing will win in these markets, and content marketing. So it depends of the size of your deals is the kind of game that you will play. I have seen customers or agencies that they think that they need a sales team when their tickets are $30, and it doesn't make sense. So make sure that you know your go-to-market strategy well and in what market you are playing before doing marketing or sales. In some companies, sales is the most important thing. In some companies, marketing wins, and in some companies, product wins. You won't be good at the three. And eventually, for getting 1,000 customers, as I told you, when you capture demand, which means when you go for the people who are really looking for your product, you know that your market is not that big. Only 5% people in your market are looking for your product actively. So if you want to scale your business, eventually you need to do demand generation, which means targeting people who are not looking for your product but are part of your target market. So on LinkedIn, I create content for marketers, and I expect that one day these marketers they will want to know about Porter metrics. What success looks like for me here? If I know that these 800,000 impressions that I am generating are going to marketers, and people say, "Hey, I have never tested Porter metrics, but I think I like your company." To me, that's winning in social media, and that's winning in demand generation. I don't know if we will get customers from this webinar, but if someone in this webinar just likes Porter metrics or just likes us as people, as founders, I think that that's enough. And one of the final lessons I want to give you is culture matters, but we don't realize it before it is too late. When we think of culture, we think of values, and that's a nice thing, but it is not enough. I learned eventually that culture is management at a scale. This means that if you have clear values, decision making is easy. At Potter, we never sacrifice customers. We never sacrifice retention. We never put acquisition first over retention. Why? Because we know our values first and we know how to prioritize. And these kind of decisions are easy to make, not because we have micromanagers to say what to do, but our values are clear enough for everyone so we can discern what decisions to make. And with this, I want to close this webinar by thanking you all for staying here and to remind you, if you want to automate your marketing reports, if you want to go faster by having your marketing metrics in one place, Power Metrics is the fastest way to get your marketing metrics. We have the most complete report templates gallery in the world, and we have a team of marketers willing to help you set up your marketing reports for free. And with this, I want to close this webinar today. Thank you very much for staying here. I want one questions for you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Juan, so much for everything that you just said. I'll let everybody know what's coming next. So we'll answer some questions. We actually have some of them already in the comments. If you still have questions, or maybe the questions gave you questions, just please write them down. After that, we'll have our freebie contest. All right. So regarding the questions, let's start with Veronica. She says, which are the main KPIs to measuring marketing for startups?
Marketing for startups in my case is demand, and demand is people who are expressing an intent to try your product. At Porter Metrics, we measure demand by trials or signups because that expresses the behavior of, hey, I don't know you, I haven't tested you, but at least I want to see what you are building. That's how you do it. Uh, why I don't measure marketing with revenue? Because revenue is dependent on the product experience, and I think that belongs to the development team and the product team, not the marketing team.
Thank you, Juan. Now let's see one of our regulars, Anna. Anna says, how do you structure your customer feedback loop?
That's a very interesting question. I wonder if actually someone made that question. Uh, we have different channels for feedback. I think something that we have set up is NPS. When you go to our app, we constantly ask for NPS scores and we want to track who are detractors and who are promoters. But also, I think the most important one is that every day we have dozens of calls, and in these calls, we gauge the sentiment of people and we ask them how they did get to know us, and also what problems they are facing with the product. I think those are the most important feedback sources or feedback rivers that we have. Calls with customers every day, especially with angry customers, and NPS.
Thank you, Juan. Let's have another one from Martha. She says, how do you avoid high staff turnover?
Uh, that's a good question. I think, like a personal perspective, when you know who you are, you will get very good long term relationships. I learned that we know who we are at Potter, so we know what kind of people we like here. So, for instance, I don't want an asshole working with me. I don't want someone who wants a lifestyle job where they only do their job and they get paid. I want to hire people who like being at startups. So in the beginning, hiring the correct people is important. And second, we have a value that I hope Sebas agrees with, maybe, hopefully. Um, the first value that we list is giving first. And give first is doing something for others before thinking of your own. And the way we express that is we hope to have very good conditions. We think we have very good perks. In the end, as founders, we do the things that we would like to be given if we were employees. I hope that value of giving first and also knowing who you are, I think that are the most important things to retain people. Uh, I lost you, Sebas. Your audio.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
now you hear you.
Um, I have another one from Anna. How did you and the rest of the co-founder team decide on how to split the company shares?
That's another way of expressing giving first. We are evenly split. The three co-founders are evenly split in 33%, 33%, and 33%. But we need to take away percentage to investors, and also we have separate 10% for employees. Some employees don't know that, but we have stock options for employees that we are delivering.
That's great to know.
Yeah, very good.
Question from Mauricio. How do you structure your webpage to make sure your customers can buy your product without human interaction?
That's delusional. I think that a lot of our sales still need human interaction, but I don't think it is a bad thing because in the beginning, when you don't have a product that is better than the competition or differentiated, you can win with good customer support. So I actually will encourage to have a lot of human interaction. Now, if your users don't want, that's a good question that I am still figuring out. But I think the answer goes with selling jobs to be done, selling the use case specifically. If you sell a specific use case, then you will activate the use of the product and people eventually will turn into customers. But that's a very generic answer. I know. I would like to have a more accurate and smart answer for that.
Other question: how do you measure if you have product market fit?
Product market fit is felt really, and how you feel it when users and customers pull you to build product. How we know that at Porter we have product market fit? Even though if our product is failing, they stay with us and they are patient with us. When a customer is angry with us and they don't leave the company, we know that we have product market fit. When we have customer support calls very often with a customer saying, "Hey, I don't understand this, I don't understand this," but they are willing to have these calls, I know that this is so painful that they will stay with us. So measuring product market fit, that's one thing. The second thing that you can measure product market fit that is quantitatively is that you pick a metric, and this metric is called North Star metric. And the North Star metric is the one that defines your success as a business, but also the success as a customer. The more this metric happens, it means that the customer is getting more value. I will give an example. The more rides people do on Uber, the more success they have. And if this metric is growing, it means that they have product market fit. At Power Metrics, if more people are creating reports, we can say that they are getting value from our product, then I can say that there is product market fit. But there is a second dimension. The intensity of the product market fit varies. I can say that Power Metrics has product market fit, but I will argue if it is the most intense pain that we are solving at this point. So there are different levels of product market fit. I will say
Right. I actually have to say that there are a lot of people participating. So in order to keep
ten
ourselves
people,
in schedule, Juan,
10 people more than I expected, right? Yeah.
maybe be a little bit more concise with the next ones, please. Sam, here, and I love this question because we are a remote team. Juan Pablo says, "How to build a culture for I guess it's for a remote team based on values and results."
Okay, I don't focus on results. I focus on processes, and that's part of stoicism. Second, we build remote teams by hiring people remotely, mandatorily. I could perfectly hire only people in Colombia, and that will kill everything. Deliberately, I hire people in Nigeria and India to make us mandatory. Everyone speaking English and work remotely. So if you force yourself, if you put yourself in that environment, you will make it somehow.
Um, I have Sebastian. How do you how do you get the best keywords for SEO? I guess how do you do keyword research?
Yeah, I when I started, I didn't do any keyword research. I only thought of the queries that if someone searched for them, they will buy it. They will buy, and I didn't care about search volume. I didn't care about anything. If someone is searching this and the intent is high, the commercial intent is high, that's the most important one.
Carlos says, Juan, do you have tutorials to improve SEO? What content do you recommend?
I learned SEO from a blog that is called Grow and Convert. And Grow and Convert talks about how to prioritize keywords and content strategy. So I totally recommend it. Go to growandconvert.com, and I think this is the best source for SEO.
Um, Paola says, what strategies do you recommend to get customers from the bottom of the funnel, demand capture, as you mentioned?
Demand capture is getting to the people who are already looking for your product. So looking for is searching. The best channels are search engines, Google and YouTube. So what you will want to do is choose a specific query or keyword that you know is super high intent, like for instance digital marketing reporting tool, and cover that topic with different angles. For instance, an article that is best digital marketing reporting tools. A second angle, a tutorial, how to create a marketing report, and then a YouTube tutorial, uh, 5 steps to creating a marketing report. So pick a specific topic with high intent and cover it with multiple angles and topics, and that's how I think that you can capture the demand.
Now we have Martha. How do you see the current panorama for startups? Do you prefer being profitable right now or growing exponentially quickly by requiring lots of cash?
Um, Actually, I prefer the highly intensive growth environment where you are not profitable. But people don't understand that some markets need to raise money and to be very aggressive. In our market in software, you can try to be profitable, you can try to be stable and these things because that's our market. But in our markets, you need to raise money to win. It is unfortunate that this crisis made some startups die, but that's part of their game. It is not that they are doing wrong. It's because they need to play in this way. I recommend a book that is called Blitzscaling by Ray Hoffman, the founder of PayPal and LinkedIn. He wasn't efficient at all. He burned money and he did win because he needed to play this game of being super aggressive. So that's my answer. I think that today we are in a difficult position, but we need startups that raise a lot of money.
I guess those are all our questions. Juan, thank you so much for them. So, right before our freebie moment, I just want to make a quick shout out to our two communities. We have a Facebook group and a Slack channel. We promise this is not a salesy group or anything. We just want other marketers to actually drive value from their data. So, if you think that you can get some value from these groups on the community, please join. You have the links to join in the description of the platform that you're watching us from. Now, without further ado, it's time for the gifts. All right. So I just want to make a quick disclaimer before actually making the contest. We're working right now through a software that lets us stream in various platforms at the same time, right? One of those is LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn comments appear to us mixed with the rest of the comments, right? So you are not seeing what everybody is actually commenting at the same time. I make this statement because last time we had people that thought that they had won and actually claimed try to claim their prize, but other people in other platforms responded faster. So just so you know, that's a possibility, right? Anyway, I'm gonna announce the winners like verbally within the webinar, so you guys know exactly who won and who I must contact. Right. So I'm just gonna make one question, and the winner of this question, let's have three winners. That's been cool for the last webinars. So for the three winners, we're gonna give our free, like for free, our premium templates. Juan, can you please what our premium templates are and how much they're worth in the market?
The one that you and me are creating is worth over $600 or $700 at least, at minimum. They are. It has been a lot of work for doing that.
Thanks, man. But what is it? What can people actually do with it?
We are working on a report template that actually we just finished, but we haven't launched, that connects all your marketing data in one place. We have already more than 20 pages that connect social media, paid ads, Google Analytics, SEO in a single report. So I am sure that you will love it.
All right. So I hope that's enough for everybody to try to win it. I actually do really, really, really easy questions for those that actually paid attention. Okay.
Too much.
So my question for today would be, and remember, you're competing with people in other platforms. What was Potter's first business model before we pivoted to today's connectors? I'll repeat the question. What was our first business model before we pivoted to today's connectors? We already have two correct answers. I'm not gonna say it, of course. We're waiting for somebody. Okay. So, Martha, you've been actually engaging a lot today, Martha. Thank you very much. Martha says, cameras to track and monitor traffic. That's perfect. Felipe says cameras. Cactus says cameras. Three of them in YouTube. Thank you guys very, very, very much for being with us today. I just want to make a quick shout out for our next webinar. It's going to be in 2 weeks. We're going to teach you how do actually marketers use today's tools to drive content strategies that can actually drive a lot of of organic website visits. Like Juan was talking about our SEO and how we actually pull that. We're actually going to teach you how you can do it yourself in your actual industries. So thank you very much for everyone. Let's stay connected and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.